Hey everybody, it's Ben here. I just thought that this week in the journals and sort of for our group, it was going to be way easier to just make a little video and explain how we went about everything in terms of our tracking and session details and sort of that sort of stuff. We definitely learnt a lot from the process. Just into at the moment, sorry, we've completed our scratch track session and also our rhythm tracking session. And yeah, definitely a lot was learnt about Pro Tools um, and how we save stuff and everything. So this is how we've set it up. We've basically worked off one sort of template um, for each track. So as you can see, this is something to hold on to. The version is rhythm tracking complete. I'll show you the versions we have later. But basically, in this session, we have all our scratch track channels, which are now labeled ST on the end of each track. So any channel with ST is a scratch track channel, except these buses, they're not, these auxiliaries, sorry, they're not labeled ST, but they are part of the scratch track. So basically, I've routed each element of the kit to this kit bus, and then outputted all the auxiliaries to a scratch track print, and then recorded a left and right print of the scratch track, and then bounced that out and made it available for the band. So in our rhythm tracking session, we actually just had all these individual channels routed to these buses, and then the buses were outputted to the right side of the console, and we sort of ran monitors there like we did in our scratch track session. But I think the better way to do it would have just been to get this left and right bounce straight up, put it at the top, and then just work from there. But obviously, the advantage of having these buses was that if the drummer said, "Oh, I don't want to hear my kit when I play the real thing," we can take it out quickly like that. That we could have probably bounced just the kit, just the bass, etc. Had less tracks. But yeah, it worked. It's just looking a little bit messy at the moment. But anyway, further down in our session here, we've got our real tracking session. So we've had kick in mic, kick out mic, snare top, snare bottom, hi-hats, tom 1, tom 2, tom 3, overheads left and right, and a room mic, which we played around with. We sort of played around with all the positioning depending on the song and chatted with the drummer and everything. But yeah, as you can sort of see, we really only took one take of the whole song, and they just played it to. We got their monitors right, so Lucia was on our monitors for this session. And yeah, we got it all right with them, and they were really happy with their monitors, so they were able to play the whole thing through once, which was great. And yeah, then we made one playlist, and after the first take, got them to come in and have a listen, and we put these location markers throughout just by enter, like we learnt. And then wrote down what they were during the session, or sort of all four of us were taking notes. So this one was mainly for just praise, like the fill with Mikey the drummer landed it perfectly. These other ones, as you can see, we fixed up some timing at the end, and our drummer forgot to missed a bar on the end, so he stopped too early. So what I've done here is I've just started editing the drums, where I've chosen the bit that I want to start. So for here, it's on a downbeat, on the nearest downbeat sort of thing to where the mistake was. And then I've just cut it from the playlist down here using one of our tracking groups. I've selected it and I've just moved it up, and then I've gone right in on the waveform and then put it just a crossfade between the two. And then I haven't adjusted the gain here, but I have adjusted the gain on this bass channel over here. My apologies. It's over here. Yes. So I have adjusted the gain here just to compensate. The second take ended up being a little bit higher, more gain, or he hit the strings louder than the next take. So I've just done some pretty basic gain sort of equalization so that they don't sound drastically different. And yeah, same deal. Just put a crossfade there. Selected the bit I wanted. Didn't really need the rest of this other take, so just took the bit I needed, and then edited it in. And yeah, that's pretty much all the editing I've gone through. Then the guitarist, ahead of our guitar tracking session next week, guitarist spoke to us and said he'd really like a bounce of just the rhythm section, so he can practice just to the rhythm section and in time and things like that, so he can actually write some more guitar solo stuff. So that's all I've done here. I've just routed everything out to another bus, bus 23, 24, and then just that's coming out of my main outputs in my studio, and then I've just recorded out another bounce. I'll just quickly show the our sort of saving technique. So here is our main folder. We've called it Tracking Complete. And in each song, we've just got 3 versions. So we've got Scratch Track Complete, then we've got our rhythm tracking, which we had to change our IOs and get everything set up for the rhythm tracking. So that's that preparation step. And then Rhythm Tracking Complete, which is a version with all the editing and all the tracking complete. Then we've just got in our bounced files a scratch track and a rhythm section. And then we've uploaded that to the Google Drive, and the guitarists are good to prepare their solos and practice their guitar parts ahead of next week's tracking session. So yeah, that's about it to this session. I think there's definitely lots we've learnt. In future, I don't know that I would come into the studio with the full scratch track and individual stems in the session. I would probably just come in with a left and right, maybe even each part bounced out. I'm not sure. But yeah, and definitely learnt a lot about saving things, and yeah, still heaps of questions about session size and things like that. Like this session is getting up to like 25 gigs pretty quickly, and we've got a lot more tracking to do. But yeah, in future, I think the tracking session will look a little bit different. We might just have, this rhythm bounce in there and the scratch track. And then because guitars and things, it's not so crucial that we just have to not have guitars in their mix basically. And then just if we have a rhythm bounce, it's going to be much easier because fine tuning, more bass, less kick, etc. is a bit less important, I think, for guitar recording. But yeah, there's just some how I've set up the session. I've done this for each track now, so I've edited where it needs editing. On each track, and now we have a bounce out of just the rhythm section for the guitarist and the scratch track for everybody, and we've shared that with the band. Awesome. That's about it, guys. Thank you very much for listening. See you next time.